Why a prince needs a king. Why a prince needs a king. And this is kind of a parallel of a conversation that we had about why the princess needs a queen. And it's just as important as these young fellas today need an OG, a big homie, or somebody to give them wisdom, some insight, some heads up. As I said before, my father called it getting gamed up, but that is one of the biggest things that a man could have as he's maturing, is to have an OG. I got brothers my age that still ain't got an OG and still got somebody that they go hang around. They have no desire to get any wisdom. But a lot of times what that is pride. Being a prideful man has its benefits, and then it has its, problems. But once you get past the pride of wanting to talk to an older person or wisdom, we don't want to go ask. That's what a lot of times what the young guys is. They don't want to go ask an OG, hey, let me holler at you for a minute. What do you think about this? Or what do you think about this? Or, hey, I'm going through this. What do you think is the best way to handle it? A lot of times, we sit up under these OGs when you get a chance, and we hearing them, but we're not listening. A lot of times we hear them talk, but we're not listening at all. As I said before, I've gained a lot of wisdom. I got myself out of a lot of situations from the OG wisdom. And it's not even like, these guys are deep and they all like, deep all into it. No, it's just these cats done been through it already, or they didn't seen this story somewhere down the line in their young lives. So it always plays out. One of the things that my dad used to say all the time is there's nothing new under the sun. He used to say the shit that you're going through right now, man, we was going through that same shit back in the 60s and the 70s. So that's one thing that I learned, that what I'm doing and what I'm going through in life, these cats already probably done been through it already. Probably done got some good stories, But I can share a quick story with you, how it's so important to get out of your pride and your ego and to go sit under somebody, go ask somebody a question for a man to guide you. And so this one particular story, I was doing some research on the business that was for sale. So what I wanted to do was try to expand my, I guess you can call my little business, entrepreneurship on that part, as far as expanding out and getting into something else that, of course, is going to bring me more money, but it's going to require a whole lot more skill, a whole lot more knowledge. So this particular area that I wasn't familiar with, but I knew it was a potential for it to make some money. So as usual, what I do is I grab a cigar, and I either go up to Fox's, shout out to Fox's, and I go up there and I just zone out. I get on the computer and I do some research, or do whatever I got to do to figure out, if this business is going to make sense. Does the money make sense? So this one particular day, got all my numbers together, and I'm going over my numbers up at Fox's, and I see one of my OGs that's sitting on the other side, and he's sitting there chilling, minding his own business. But it came to my attention that, he knows about this, because he owned a bunch of these, back in the day. So, and let me say this also, that he's one of the biggest dealerships. He owns one of the biggest dealerships here in the city in Phoenix, where he's partnered up with him. So he's black owned too. So which is, that's good to have a role model like that over you, giving you wisdom. But back in the day, he was young. He did his thing. He hustled. Got into business, small business, and it just grew and grew and grew. So I go over to him. I say, hey. I said, oh, gee, I got this situation I'm working on, man. I said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this and this and this. He said, okay. He said, so what you got there? I said, wait, I'm running over some numbers, just trying to make sure it makes sense. You know what I mean? So this guy he want to finance part of the deal, but I got to come up with the other half of the money, which is no big deal. I just figure out I got to make sure that I'm making them, I'm getting the most out of my money. So he looks at the paperwork, asks me a couple questions. He asked me questions like, to me, didn't make any sense at all. But like, why would you ask me a question like that? It has nothing to do with, what's on that paper. So he asked me questions, but I'm listening. I'm listening all the way. I answered the question. And then that went on for about a good 10 or 15 minutes. After that, he said, you know what? It's a bad deal. Gave it right back to me. He said, everything on that piece of paper you just wrote, he said, trash it. And I was like, what? You don't think it's going to work? He was like, no, it's not. He said, because at the end of the day, that guy got his noose around your neck. And he can pretty much control the situation. Even though you could be bringing in all of the business, you still under a purchase contract, but at the end of the day, if he wants to pull the plug, he can. And there's nothing that you can really do. You can go to court and you may win it, but it's going to cost you a whole lot more money. So he was trying to give me wisdom and ahead of time to say, hey, listen. He said, I care about your future. Fuck all the money, cars, getting rich. He said, I care about your peace and your future. He said, that right there is going to have you up 24 hours a day. You won't get no sleep. You're going to be stressed out. Say, I'm trying to prevent you from doing that. And I listened, and sure enough, a week later, come to find out it was a bad deal. But to me, it looked good on paper. But when I went to go talk to my OG, it was like it was a bad deal. And the funny part about it is when I seen him the second time to let him know that it was a bad deal, well, this is before I told him it was a bad deal, the first thing he asked me was, did you throw all that shit that you was writing out, did you throw it in the garbage? I was like, no, I sent him my notepad in the car. He said, man, go and get all that shit out your notebook and throw it over there in this garbage can over here. And I started laughing. I said, why you want to do that? He said, because your ego is going to make you go back and look at that paperwork and you're going to try to convince yourself that you can still make this deal work. And it made sense, and I was like, because at one point I was like, maybe I just rearranged the deal or rearranged the numbers or whatever. And sure enough, that's what was going through my mind. I said, okay, it was a bad deal. Maybe I just go back and rearrange it and then present it a different way, or we look at it a different way, or try to come at it a different way. Sure enough, he knew that. And so exactly what I did, I went out to my car, got all of this stuff, ripped it out of my notebook, and I threw it in the trash. But that's the wisdom that you don't get in a book. You don't get that in a book. You get that from somebody who's been there, done it. But the key thing is, my father always used to say, you can hear what I'm telling you and you can be listening, but the shit won't mean nothing until you do it.